All right, it's a Melbourne preview for this week, and I'm joined by Trevor Lawson. How are you, Trevor?
Good, Mark. Good.
Yeah, well, thanks to Top Sport, we're going to do our usual weekly preview of the Saturday meeting this week. It's Caulfield, so we'll have a run through the quaddie leagues. I was just going to mention too. It's interesting. We were talking before how we're recording on a Thursday arvo, and it can be sometimes a little bit tricky to when we look at the prices you've got versus what's available up there. But we were saying how late things are starting to change in the market, so it's a good idea to have a good idea of your rated prices, and then if you've got them on hand, value can often present itself late.
Yeah. I think what's happened is there were some bigger players who were using the machines at the TABs and betting in cash so that they could sort of not sort of be known sort of thing, and because all the pub tabs and the TABs are actually closed, that avenue's not there for them anymore. So I think what they're doing is they're waiting, not showing their hand until there's enough volume in the market that they can sort of hold the price up for themselves. So we've sort of noticed that lately there just hasn't been a lot happening at all sort of in the morning or anything like that, because if they want to have a decent bet, they're better off sort of not showing their hand at all and hoping they can get most of their money on later at the good price. So the markets sort of really have been sort of fluctuating around a lot, which we sort of didn't see. Even sort of yesterday, there was a couple of horses that were sort of double figures into $5 something, which is sort of very rare that on a for a metropolitan meeting. But it's just the times we're in at the moment. So I think there might be sort of bit opportunities, and I think also what happens is they tend to sort of latch on to one, and sometimes they forget the other one. So some things can get in very, very short in the market, and there's a bit of value in the rest of them.
Yeah, I've noticed over the last few weeks, particularly with your rated markets, that sometimes we can be on your top pick or your top couple even, but other times, even if we haven't got value there and somebody else has found it, there's often 4, 5, 6 overlays in a race, so you can get a really good hand running for you.
Yeah, well, we've only bet in one race yesterday, and I had Ocular $3.20. I think it traded about $3.70 on Betfair, and then got into like $2.70 or $2.60. And I liked another horse, being a McAvoy's that was first up, and it sort of got the drifts. And then at the time, I was sort of happy betting around the horse that finished up winning the race, Craig Wynn's horse, because I sort of had it $4.20, and it opened up $2.80, $2.90. Well, it traded at middle fives, maybe nearly $6 on Betfair at one stage, and then was sort of friendless. So whereas if the market had been that in the morning, you sort of would have gone, well, I'll back it, but it was a significant drifter, and yet still won the race. So
good time to have your rated prices, so you can you got them to bet off.
Yeah, well, it's just a good time to sort of have an accurate set of prices, and then sort of stick to them, and then just sort of wait, and when the opportunities present themselves. And it might, unfortunately, you might know it at the time when you're sort of looking at the morning, but it might be sort of with 5 minutes to go or 10 minutes to go, opportunity arises itself. So just do the best you can.
Yeah, interesting. All right, we'll jump into this week, and again, doing remotely, we've got the screen share, so it's the South Coast database you use, isn't it?
Yeah, I use South Coast. Yeah, so it has and with the punting form times, so all the times are actually downloadable into the database. I've sort of used it for 15 years now, I think. I sort of like it. You sort of get used to it and that, but I think they provide a good service. so I sort of use it. The first race 6, the first leg of the quaddie is a 1200 metre race. The track, he's given it out of 6. I'm going to walk it tomorrow, being Good Friday, and have a look at it.
Yep.
I'd suggest with sort of, I don't think there's any rain around the next couple of days, that, you know, it's probably going to get to nearly, you know, if it doesn't get to a good track, it'll get to nearly a good track. Sort of after last week's heavy 8 sort of track. So I'm expecting the rail's gone back in the true. With these markets, I sort of haven't tightened them up a little bit. I sort of don't put any barrier sort of things in until after I've actually walked it. It saves me, you know, if it saves me changing them, if, you know, what I go and walk doesn't sort of, you know, it doesn't finish up being what I thought it was going to be in the first place. So I sort of just leave them neutral to start with, and just sort of, and then change them. So the prices will change a little bit, but this is sort of, yeah, the broad sort of first look Thursday.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. So we'll have a look at the quaddie, as we said. So race 6 is over the 1200, very wide open with Top Sport. Terbium at $6, equal favourite with Vinland also at $6. Vane Stream $6.50, William Thomas 7, Bella Martini 8, Music Edition 8, and Order of Command $8.50. So very wide open, and if I'm looking at the right spot on your screen, it's pretty similar for you.
Yeah, pretty similar. So it's a funny map, this. Like, for a 1200 metre race, there's not much speed in the race. You know, normally the leader would be up, you know, a leader would be in this column here.
Yep.
We've got sort of 2 horses, Music Edition. It missed the start the other day when its first start in Australia. It's a former Hong Kong horse that's shown pace in Hong Kong. And El Passam's got speed, normally more over 1400, but it's got pace. But most of the other horses, Turbion's led once in its life, and sort of once or twice not gone that well, but most of the other horses just get back horses. So it's a funny sort of map for a 1200 metre race. At the moment, so Turbion's favourite at the moment, as of sort of, you know, 5:30, excuse me, it hasn't got a run, so
Yep.
I sort of didn't have it in the, I sort of left it out of the market, but I'd probably have it a bit longer than what the market was. But yeah, I think at the moment, my market, you know, I'm about $7, $7.50 the field. I've got William Thomas favourite at the moment. If I walk the track and think the inside is no disadvantage on the place to be, I'll probably mark it a bit longer because it's a get back horse. But it looks a wide open race. Rekovic, the top weight, it generally takes one run. It's better at 1400. Vinland as trial good, it's first up, but all its best runs are on genuine wet tracks and sort of 1400. You can see here back in 2017 it won sort of around well first up and then won third up. The next prep it won second up at Flemington over 1400. The next prep it took a few runs and then won sort of fifth up at at Eagle Farm over 1600. And then had 7 weeks off and won on a soft track at Flemington over 1400. And it's drawn 13 and it's never really shown any speed. You see here its settling positions, most of the settling positions are, it gets back. So
Yep.
it seems pretty short in the market. You know, it'd want to, you know, I think a severe bias to sort of help it. I couldn't mark it any shorter than around $11, so I wouldn't be having hit. I'd be, you know, I wouldn't be sort of having hit a bet. There's a few other horses first up. Order of Command's first up. Milwaukee's first up. William Thomas off a break. Bella Martini's got good form, but it's been a while since it's fired. So yeah, we've sort of got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 horses resuming, and a couple of horses second up. So it's a pretty difficult sort of race.
was going to say, pretty easy race.
Yeah. And at the moment we've got sort of, well, there'll be 14 runners, so it'll be sort of a wide open race for firstly at the quaddie.
All right, we'll move on to race 7. That's the Easter Cup over the 2000. So with Top Sport, Secret Blaze for McAvoy and Jamie Carr's favourite at $4.80, from Selsamore at $6, Star Missile at $6.50, Hell of a Street and Inverloch at $8. How's your market look?
So I've got first the map. Hell of a Street will just lead easily. Selsamore and Inverloch will race handy. I'm thinking Secret Blaze will go forward from the barrier. I thought Ventura Storm may go forward with then Callow on. Stacey Bond will sort of sit midfield. Star Missile will get back, and sort of Skelm and Scarlet Dream will sort of be midfield. It's an interesting sort of race. There's a few horses here, sort of a query at the trip. So we've got Secret Blaze has sort of got favourite. It was terrific first up off a break over 1600. And there may have been just a little bit flat last start behind Inverloch. When it sort of sat midfield and chased, and sort of Inverloch sort of was up on the pace. It did sort of 60.5 at Flemington. It's done 60.5 before, done sort of 60 before. It's had 28 days off, but it did win off a 28-day break in November over this sort of trip. So not sort of bothered about it, the time off. I think it's the horse to beat. I've got it around the $4.40 horse at the moment, so I'll have it sort of around the sort of, $4 to $4.40 mark. I think it's sort of a good bet.
Yeah. So $4.80 in Top Sports market at the moment. So
yeah, I think that's
looking like a decent bet.
Yeah, well, the problem with the race is you got Hell of a Street goes to 2000 for the first time. He's never raced past sort of 1600, and he's 9 years old, and he's coming off a peak figure, so it's hard to see it sort of, but he'll get an easy lead. So, he's I wouldn't want to take sort of shorter than sort of around sort of $8-9 for him. Stacey Bond is another one. It was easily held by Hell of a Street the other day. The run before was good in the All-Star Mile, but it was 130 to 1 on Betfair. It's had some 2,000 metre runs that haven't been too bad. It did run 4th in the Australian Cup of 2019, only beaten the length, but they were sort of rough odds that day. Harlan won the race, and it did run back as a 3-year-old. Ran in the Rosehill Guineas. I think that might be at Rosehill. Ran 3rd there to a New Zealander. So, but it's a long time since it's been back out to this trip. It's won 2 races in the last, however long. And I'm not sure it's that reliable.
I remember that Boxing Day 2018. That was a real drought breaker.
Yeah, and that's one. Then it won sort of down the straight at Flemington. Inverloch's rock solid. It is coming back in trip though. It is coming back from 2400 this last 2 routes to 2000, but it'll race up on the pace. Selsamore's on the quick backup, which interestingly it sort of hasn't done before. It's never been on the quick backup, sort of 7-day backup. And it has had 4 runs. Last 4 runs have all been at the distance, but it will box seat, and it sort of runs the trip, so it's got some sort of hope. Scarlet Dream was good first up. That was over 1600. It goes second up to 2000, maybe sort of a little bit of an ask. And Skelm's going well, and it'll sit in midfield. It might be sort of some chance at odds. The one in the market, which I sort of posed last week, Star Missile, on the wet running the trip, Williams saved all the ground he could last week on the inside in the best going, and it's still, still got beat a length and a half, albeit on a heavy track. This time it's drawn 13 on the quick backup. I'd be surprised if it wasn't a drifter from the $7. If it's $7 and Secret Blaze is $4.80, I'd be much. I think they should be much further apart. So at the moment, Secret Blaze I think's a bet. Inverloch will be around what odds I've got it.
So Inverloch's $8 with Top Sport at the moment. Selsen's $6. So a bit shorter, and a couple others you mentioned. Socibon $9 and Skelm $15.
Yeah, I'll have Socibon. I'll be trying to mark longer. Helver Street I'll have around the $8 to $10 mark. But sort of want to sort of be up on those horses, up on the pace.
Okay. No worries. Race 8 is over the 1400, I think. Yep. Wild Planet is at the top of Top Sports market at $3.10 for Dwayne Dunn and the Hawks. From Bams on Fire, $7, Seabrook $7.50, and Haunted at $10. Wild Planet, whereabouts have you got it in terms of price?
I've got it a bit longer than that. The speed's pretty good here. Runson will have to come across on the outside the lead, so it should be genuinely run. Bamside 4 will go forward. I think Haunted will go forward from the barrier. Spanish Whisper can go forward, and maybe Mr. Inclusive. Manola Blahnik could possibly be caught sort of 3 wide with the trail. Dr. Drill sort of similar midfield. And Wild Planet basically just sort of race, box seat or, one out, one back, but it should get the run of the race. Okay. At the moment, I've got it sort of $4.80. With a positive map and all that, I can probably mark it a bit shorter, but I wouldn't be able to get it anywhere near $3.10 as it is now. I don't know. Just last start, I couldn't get anywhere near the price either.
Yeah.
And I've sort of, I've got a pretty good rating, I think, for it. So I thought Haunted's going well. It's one day over this distance. I think you can go forward from the barrier.
Double figures available, Haunted, at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's good odds. I think I'll have, I've got it around the 750 mark at the moment. I'll definitely have it single figures. Seabrick was terrific first up off a long spell, but I've got it double figures. Manola Blahnik's flying. I've got it sort of around the $10-11 mark. I sort of want to be on it. I reckon it's sort of been set for this race. It's raced here
$14 at the moment, Manola Blahnik.
Yeah, I think it's flying overs. And the Bamside Fire, I've sort of got it a consistent sort of horse. It's sort of the mare in the race. It's coming back from mare's grade to open class. I've got it a consistent sort of 58 horse its last sort of 3 starts. It will get a good run on the map, so it'll get a bonus there. But again, raw rating to start with, I've got it $14. So I think I'll struggle to get in the single figures, and it's sort of $7. So it's an interesting race. I'm not sure whether there'll be much value. The other one's Spanish Whisper. I think it might get a not bad run. I've sort of got it single figures. So it'll just be what sort of value there is in sort of Haunted, Spanish Whisper, Manola Blahnik, possibly a couple of others, whether we sort of play, because I don't think it'll be on the favourites.
Yeah, so Spanish Whisper is $12 at the moment with Top Sport. So there's definitely, not the favourite, but there's definitely a few there that you look to have at bettable odds.
Yeah. So in a situation like that, it's sort of just weigh up whether they're sort of good enough overs, and Wild Planet's at a price that I think is just too short. and I sort of, I've bottomed out. I can't do any more with it. Then I'm sort of happy to bet. But if they're only slide overs and Wild Planet's slide unders, well then you sort of, still it's a stay out race. But
yeah, you want a bit of margin there to your price.
yes.
Yeah. All right, good stuff. We'll have a look at the last, which is over the mile. And Fidelia for Robbie Griffiths, his favourite with Top Sport, $3.60 from Super Titus at $4.80. So you win at $6.50 and Guizo at $7.50. Who's on top for you?
So I've got, at the moment, I've got Fidelia favourite, but it's sort of around the 550 mark. I couldn't possibly mark it any shorter than that.
Yeah.
It just gets back and runs on. You can see here on my ratings, it's returned 54.5, 56.5, 56.5, 56.5. The market rating for it is basically, the market thought it would do 58, 58, 58. So in these runs, second and third up, it's sort of slightly underperformed to what the market thought.
Yep.
And then the market sort of dropped off at the last start and just marked it $28 because it was Moonee Valley in a tighter track. Its best wins have been on all bar its first win, which is Cranbourne, but it won 4 races in a row, all on big tracks. It won at Sandown, Hillside, the big, and then Flemington. So I've sort of got it. I sort of rated it to what the market did to start with, and then I'll make a decision. But I'll either mark it longer than I've got it now, or leave it there. But I definitely won't have either bet.
Yep.
I'm not sure. Masculino's trialled all right, and the market's wanted to be on it first up in its past couple of preps, but it hasn't really won until it's been third up. So 2 preps ago, sort of the market wanted to be on it first up, and it ran sort of 10th, beaten a long way, and then it won sort of third up, and then last prep, first up, it ran at Flemington. It ran around $4.40. Betfair SP. The market wanted to be on it, but it ran sort of 7th, beaten 4.3 lengths. It did go back from the barrier that day. Then second up, they wanted to be on it again, marked at $12. It's a harder race. They wanted to be on it, and it sort of did too much work, or went a bit slow, I think, and got well beaten by Dr. Drill, and then it won third up. It's had 2 jump outs and gone okay, and the map looks favourable for it in that there's no pace in the race at all. So I thought it might be one that might be sort of, if there's sort of the mark, if the stable is sort of, confident in how it'll run, I think it might be one that may well shorten up a bit, because if it is fit enough, it's got a lot of favours here in the race, but there's not much pace in the race.
Yeah, it looks like it opened at 17 with Top Sport and is in marginally to 14. So.
Yeah, it's one I could sort of see being back, but then it may parade. It'll be one you got to wait for the parade to see sort of how it parades.
Yep.
Super Titus was fair first up. He sort of just held his ground, and Chuka in the cup. Steps to 1600. He did win second up last prep at Caulfield, and went terrific, but he'd sort of run well first up, where this time he sort of didn't go quite as good, and then he sort of just dropped off there. He's one of these sort of imports. He's sort of a bit hit and miss. The market seems to have rated it right up. I'm not sure whether he's sort of entitled to be sort of that short. One of the interesting runners is Caatonic. It won Oaks Day 2018 at Flemington, produced a good figure that day, and then resumed in Sydney last autumn and really didn't do much. Hit a couple of wet tracks, and then brought back in the spring and didn't do much. And they've sort of just brought it down here for this prep, and it's sort of got that one figure, at Flemington. So it's sort of like they've tried to, change things around with it and maybe train it from down here. It's had 4 jump outs down here, so it had its first jump out in the 21st of February. So it's been down here for a fair while. And Williams has been booked. So I thought it might have been one that, might be well fancied.
Yeah, $10 at the moment, Kaelnick.
Yeah, I've got it around those odds. It sort of could go. It's another one in the market. Sort of, it could go either way. And the one that's sort of rock solid is Guizo. He raced as well here. You can see here he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's had 10 starts at Caulfield and won 4 races. And ran second twice and 2/3. So he loves the place. He won here 2 starts ago. Off the map, he gets a good run in the race. So I thought he was sort of rock solid at, around the $7. Might possibly mark him a bit shorter. But
yeah, he's $7.50 at the moment, Guizo.
Yeah, I think the other thing is too that I think the favourites entered in Sydney.
Okay.
I'm not sure it's been scratched there from not, but I think Phil, I think it's entered for a race in Sydney. So it may come out and the whole market may change around. But I'd be sort of happy opposing it at the early price. Caatonic might be interesting. Say you win first up for Waller. It's run well fresh in the past. It of a 91-day break, it ran second at Hawkesbury at the standalone meeting in April, around this time last year. So it's a bit of guesswork. This race, you're sort of guessing which horses sort of are forward enough, and I'm not really interested in the favourites. But then these sort of they can be trap races. These, because if the horses are just sort of pushing for aren't fancied at all, and in the end have no price, then the favourite's true price is actually shorter than what you think it is, what you think it should have been in the first place. So this, it can be sort of a bit of a trap race.
All right, well, thanks, Sal. Looks like most of the races there we've found a bit of value of some type by the looks. Even if in a couple looks like we'd be betting around a favourite, but could be some good value. So we look forward to Saturday, and then tomorrow off, Friday obviously, and then Monday back at Sandown for Easter Monday.
Back at Sandown Monday, yeah, and I don't think there's a midweek meeting for. There's no midweek meeting this week, but
okay. Yeah, Monday instead.
Yeah, so we've got Monday, and then next week's back to Caulfield again.
Good stuff.
Yeah, there's actually no Cup Wednesdays, but there might be something else happening. So stay tuned. I'll leave with that.
Will do. Bit of a teaser. All right. Well, thanks for that, and we'll catch up next week and have a bit of a chat about how the meeting went.
Great. Thanks, Mark. Thank you.
Thanks.